You know, for literally thousands of years, no matter where you were on Earth, people have done the same thing, looked up at the sky. We've looked for answers, for guidance, really just for a sense of our place in this huge cosmos.
Because, well, the sky tells us a story. It's this incredible story written in cycles of light and dark, in that slow dance of the planets and the constant march of the constellations across the night.
But here's the big question. Are we really listening? Are we hearing the whole story? Today, we're going to dive into two totally different ways of listening to the sky. One is ancient, and the other, well, it's very modern.
Okay, so let's start with what probably feels pretty familiar to most of us. We tend to see the sky as this giant, predictable machine, right? Kind of like a massive celestial clock.
Just think about the phases of the moon. It goes from that tiny sliver to a big, bright disk and then all the way back again. It's a cycle that is perfectly 100% predictable. It's just this beautiful, geometric dance between the sun, the earth, and the moon. In modern science, it's amazing at explaining the mechanics behind all of this. I mean, we use data from satellites, from weather balloons, we build these complex models and use physics to figure out exactly why an eclipse happens, or why the tides come in and out. It's all about getting to the why.
And because we've gotten so good at understanding the mechanics, we know these patterns are just incredibly reliable. Seriously, we can predict an eclipse centuries from now, right down to the second.
But, and this is where things get really interesting, what else can these patterns tell us? I mean, beyond just predicting the next full moon, what can they predict about what's happening right here on Earth? In our own backyards.
See, for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, these cycles have always been about so much more than just astronomy. For them, the sky is a deeply practical guide to life itself.
So in this way of knowing, the sky isn't just a clock. It's more like a living, breathing calendar. The rising of one specific star might mean it's time to collect emu eggs. Another might signal that it's the perfect time to head to the coast for fishing. This isn't just stargazing, it's a full-on survival guide, one that's been built on thousands and thousands of years of incredibly detailed observation.
And this wisdom, it goes even deeper. It actually builds into something super specific, forecasting the weather, for real.
Okay, this is where it gets just fascinating. We're not just talking about broad seasons here. We're talking about tomorrow's forecast. So for example, observers might look at the Pleiades, star cluster. If those stars look kind of hazy or watery, that's a direct sign of moisture high up in the atmosphere. And what does that mean? Rain is probably on its way. Or maybe a key constellation is sitting low and bright on the horizon. That could signal the start of the dry season. It is just an incredibly nuanced and detailed way of reading the sky.
So what we really have here are two powerful but fundamentally different ways of knowing the world. Let's actually put them side by side and see how they stack up.
This really gets to the heart of it. Modern meteorology, on one hand, it's all about massive amounts of data, supercomputers, and explaining the physics of it all, the why something happens. But indigenous knowledge, which has been fine-tuned over millennia, is this incredibly holistic system. It's all about observing the deep connections between the sky and the land to predict when something will happen, and, this part is absolutely crucial, what you should do about it. It's not about which one is better. They're just two different and totally complementary ways of looking at the very same world.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples observe the positions and brightness of stars to identify weather patterns, forming part of their cultural and environmental knowledge systems. That's it, right there, is this deep, profound connection between the sky, the land, and the people.
So, the next time you look up at the night sky, what are you going to see? Will you just see a bunch of twinkling lights? Or will you maybe see the subtle hint of rain on the way, the quiet whisper of a changing season, a whole story just waiting for you to read it?